Get ready
for another episode
of Live Speak. With Justin the Geek.
Justin the Geek.
Justin the Geek.
Justin the Geek.
What you're about to hear.
Live Speak. Justin the Geek.
Breaking news.
Live Speak.
Interesting guests.
Justin
the Geek.
Your calls and texts.
Live Speak. Tips and news you can use. Warning.
Warning.
This program is highly addictive and habit-forming. Side effects include happiness, knowledge, memory improvement, and retention, increased attention span, loss of disabilities, and more. Consult your doctor before listening to this program.
Now, enjoy the show responsibly.
Enjoy this responsibly. Welcome, everybody, to Live Speak with Justin the Geek. I am, as always, Justin the Geek, your host for the show today. First and foremost, actually, I want to get right into it and send my thoughts and my prayers out to the people of Boston for the horrific events that have happened recently. An absolute huge thank you to the first responders. And, I mean, holy hell, the Boston PD for taking care of business. They went in like they'd done this every day. It was like they had prepped for this forever, and this was something normal for them. I actually saw a video on Gizmodo of you saw all the thermal images all over the internet and all over the news and whatnot, but Gizmodo put up this great video. It's about a 3-minute long video of all the thermal images, and it's just, you know, incredible to watch it because they send in that big machine to pull the tarp off of the boat. But meanwhile, the helicopter's going around, and you can see the heat signature from the suspect in the boat. And it's crazy because he doesn't hardly move. I mean, I know he was injured a little bit, but about 2 minutes into the video, you get to see them deploying flash grenades in there and just seeing them blow up, you know. And I didn't know what it was at first. I'm just like, what is blowing up? But it says they were flash grenades, and even then, the suspect hardly moved at all. So I don't know what... I missed what had happened to him before that, but man, he was in bad shape if he didn't move with a flash grenade going off next to his head. But that was some pretty incredible work by the police department there. Like I said, they went in and got it done like they had done it before. And finding him with a FLIR thermal imaging camera. Of course, FLIR, for those that don't know, that's a forward-looking infrared imaging camera. And that basically, it's been around, and I didn't know this, that FLIR and thermal imaging has been around for like 50 years. It just hasn't been implemented in this way until like 1980. And of course, the police department had their thermal imaging. It was mounted to a Eurocopter AS-355N twin star, for those that know what that is. And that was giving them the ability to see through the tarp. Infrared can see through fog, can see through, water. It just picks up heat signatures, and it happened to pick up the one from the suspect in this case, which was pretty cool. So I'll put the link for that video on the show notes afterwards. Actually, if you're in the chat right now, I'll go ahead and just post it in the chat. You can go and watch that because I'm going to go to a quick commercial break here, and then I'll bring on my co-host for the day. So stay with us, and we'll be right back with Live Speak with Justin the Geek.
Need a do-it-yourself with your website? Let the gurus at thedigitalcraft.com teach you how to build, design, and maintain your website at an affordable price. They offer private training on web programming, graphic and web design, video production, motion graphics, and expert consulting. Book your session today on Facebook at facebook.com/thedigitcraft and check out free tutorials at youtube.com/thedigitcraft or take our courses on udemy.com. Thedigitalcraft.com, your web and design gurus. You're listening to Live Speak with Justin the Geek. Every Sunday at 2 p.m., he's bringing you amazing courses from great instructors on udemy.com. Lots of tech talk, phone calls, and much more. Live every Sunday of every week. This is Live Speak. Enjoy the show.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that commercial. That was a digitalcraft.com commercial. And from the digitalcraft.com, actually, surprisingly, I have with me today Alan Quant from the Digital Craft. How you doing, Alan?
Fantastic.
Fantastic again. Every time I talk to you, you are fantastic. You must live like an incredible life.
I think I've left my basement in weeks.
Oh, like I said, you must live an incredible life. Oh, man.
I'm just here. You just call, and I'm just sitting here.
Oh, that's good.
I don't even agree to be on the show.
Well, I know. I just call and you're like, hello, what are we doing? Are we live? What's happening? That's how I run my show for anybody. I don't invite people on. I just call them. At random. Most of the time they don't know they want to be on the show. It's great. But no, we were talking actually earlier about, we've talked about it before, previously, about Windows 8, and I wanted to kind of get into that because we were talking earlier today and you'd brought up that you'd been using Windows 8 a lot more now. I don't remember though. Are you using it on a tablet or a computer?
Both. Well, kind of. I have a laptop and a touchscreen, like all in one PC.
Oh, okay. So I mean, okay. So you're getting used to it from both angles. Then that's cool.
Yeah, the touchscreen's much easier to get around with. Obviously, the interface is geared more towards that. But the laptop, up until very recently, I've just kind of avoided it, which sucks. It's a brand new laptop, and I'd like to use it. But as sad as it sounds, that start menu not being there has irritated me to the point where I don't want to look for programs. When I install them, I got to go retrieve them from that horrific start screen. But I downloaded a start menu plugin that works really well. I waited a while because I wanted to see what people were going to do with it before I just grabbed the first one that somebody came out with.
Right. Yeah, there were a few that came out originally, and there was one that, of course, Microsoft recommended, and that one was, of course, like $5 or $10. So I'm guessing that Microsoft picked somebody and was like, hey, do you want to make some money? Make a start menu, and we'll recommend it because we're taking it out.
Yeah, which still boggles my mind. Their reasoning behind it is that their polling of users suggested that people don't use the start menu anymore, and I would think that a company like Microsoft would. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's
I don't
really
know how to finish that sentence.
Well, anything with what you think Microsoft should do is never going to be a complete sentence. Because they never do anything what you think. I mean, the one that you found, and you sent it to me, the start menu, which I looked at, I haven't really been able to play with because I don't have a Windows 8 machine. And is it called Pocky?
Pokey, something like that.
Yeah, Pokki. It's a pretty nice little interface.
Yeah, it looks like it was originally meant to be more of an add-on to Windows itself, kind of a shell add-on type of deal. It mainly what it seems to be is kind of like an app platform, kind of based on the same premise of Google with Chromium. And so you can build HTML5, JavaScript, whatever apps, and have them kind of load up in a window like a desktop app through Pokey. So that's also an interesting little piece of it. Whether that's going to get big or not, I don't know. It's kind of a flooded market, but the start menu feature is definitely nice.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was, like I said, one of the things that drove me nuts with Windows 8 is I'm used to the start menu. That's how I get to a majority of things. I mean, I know a lot of shortcuts on the keyboard for getting around. So not necessarily I don't need the start menu, but it's been there since 3.1, You go down, click your start menu, there's all your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and another nice feature of this is that it also includes a little bit of social media in there. And so you get a little notifications window in the bottom right. And you can get your notifications from like Facebook and Skype, I think, and some of the other ones.
Wow, they're really pushing social media is getting integrated with everything, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. That kind of that's a good segue. It leads right into the next thing I was going to talk about. And we talked about it again before, was Facebook Home. Because it's been out now since April 12th. And I don't know anybody that has it. That's what's driving me nuts. I don't know anybody that has the Facebook Home on their phone. But
yeah, there was a lot of hype for something that not a lot of people got.
Really? Seriously? I mean, because it's only available on Android, the full Facebook Home app itself, of course.
And only a handful of devices.
Yeah, and then there's only a handful out. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are ways of getting it on your device. I've read a bunch of different articles, and you guys can go find those. I'm not going to tell you how to do that, but yeah, as far as standards, there's only a few that it can go on. And now with the Apple, I did an update thanks to Freedom Portis, one of our fans. He told me the other day he was trying out the chat heads thing, and I was like, don't you have an iPhone? He says, yeah. So I did an update on my app, and I ended up with the chat heads feature. But in the app update, it said Chat Heads is available now, and within 2 weeks, more features will be available. So I don't know what other features they're going to start bringing into the iPhone. I really doubt iPhone's going to allow them to just take over like they did with Android.
Yeah, I highly doubt that. That's probably one of the reasons why they didn't make it for iOS yet.
Yeah, and and the other thing is, like they said, Android is built as open source. It's built to expand. I mean, you can customize anything in an Android phone. Mm-hmm. With an iPhone, you really can't. You have to jailbreak it, and then you end up ruining it if you don't do it right. It's a strange language, too. The Mac language.
The Mac language?
Yeah.
C# or
yeah.
Objective-C, I mean.
Is that what it is, Objective-C?
Yeah, that's what iOS apps and Mac apps are building.
Does that stand for crazy? Because it sure seems like it. I've seen some of the code and everything for that, and it's nuts. It's not even human. Which is probably why they don't have as many security leaks, which is a good thing. As far as Android, though, I'm going to mention this too, is for anyone that has an Android device out there, period. It could be a tablet or a phone, doesn't matter. Androids get malware. It's in the apps, it's in things that you do online. It's just it's open source, so it's available. It's vulnerable to a lot of malware. And I read this article the other day about this, a family of data stealing malware. Apparently, it was downloaded somewhere between 2 and 9 million times on Android devices. So, what it would do is, it was actually called bad news. Oddly enough, bad news. But it would snag the phone numbers and serial numbers of the devices that it's on, and then sometimes pushes downloads of another Trojan virus called Alpha SMS. And it says that it wasn't originally in the apps, however, it was snuck in later. So the apps that were in Google Play, Google's App Store for Android, we'll call it, they don't get screened as hardcore as Apple. Apple has such criteria for apps and things like that you have to go through, and they make sure and screen them really, really, really carefully at Apple before they get into the App Store itself. With Google, it's kind of like you make an app, you just plug it in, and it's on the App Store or in Google Play.
Yeah, I believe there's a little bit of process to that, but I think the dynamic between Google and Apple as far as OSs go and apps go, and hardware in general, is similar to the previous dynamic between Microsoft and Apple, where Android, you can kind of do whatever you want. Just like with Microsoft, you could make your own PCI cards and stuff, if you wanted, if you knew how to do that. I mean, anything you wanted could be put into a Windows machine or built for a Windows machine, software or hardware.
Oh, right.
Whereas Apple, it's way more restricted.
Yeah, and the good thing, for Android users, you don't have to freak out. It's not like your phone's gonna randomly get a bunch of viruses, malware, but there are steps that you can take, and one of my recommendations is to get some antivirus. There's AVG is a good one that's free out there for mobile devices. The ones that I had when I had an Android, and the one that actually found that data stealing malware recently, was called Lookout. And that's the one I used on my phone. It was great. It updated every day. It ran in the background, and it didn't interrupt anything I was doing, and it seemed to keep my phone perfectly safe and legit. And I just put the link to that in the chat if anybody wants it, and I'll put it in the show notes afterwards as well for Lookout. That's just lookout.com.
I think the issue I see coming is that, from this article, it's a Russian app, and odds are I'm not going to just go out and find random Russian apps and put them on my device.
Right.
But more malware is going to come, and that means that our parents are going to call us to fix their phones now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
not just their computers, but now our family members are going to have us fixing their phones.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like going back to what you said last week in the show, is that people are getting a phone as their first computer now. That has become their computer and their social tool. So, yeah, I think we'll be getting the phone calls to, how come all my phone numbers are gone? And I don't know. Do you have security on there?
Are you downloading pirated music again?
I know, right?
That's pretty much my first question.
Yeah. What are you doing? And you need to be honest with me, has always been my first troubleshooting solution.
Yeah, I think I made a good $20 a couple times a month from one person in particular a few years back who just kept having to put LimeWire back on her computer.
Yep.
I kept telling her, it's this. This is the reason why. It's not working. Stop doing this. And she just kept doing it.
Yeah, one of our policies at a computer store that I worked at was to remove any of those. If they came in for virus removal, we took those programs right off of there because they weren't legal. You know, we had to take them off of their computers, and they would come back in 2 weeks later with it right back on there. Same virus problem. Drop another $100 on a virus cleaning.
Yep.
You know, so... Yeah, I just recommend for people with Android devices just to get some kind of security. You don't have to go overkill with it. If you're not doing anything, you know, too crazy with it, you'll be okay. If you're not just randomly downloading apps, I mean, do a little research on it first. If you find an app you like, jump online, see if it's legit, see who made it, how long it's been out, you know. Don't just judge by how many people downloaded it. Because like this thing, you know, this bad news, 2 to 9 million people, I would have downloaded it too because of that, but... It's a Russian app that really didn't do much. Why would you download it?
What was it claiming it did?
I don't know. I didn't see anything in the article about what it was supposed to do. I don't know.
It's something about us downloading apps that we just like, oh, that looks neat.
Mm-hmm. And
don't know what it is.
Yeah, it just said it was called bad news and that it was, you know, sitting somewhere on Google Play. And it was found out by Lookout Mobile Security. Very interesting that people just, hey, that looks cool. But again, that came down to, you know, seeing 9 million people download it. It's probably in recommended, you know, downloads.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So, yeah, that's probably bad news there. But yeah, well, I want to talk a little bit about some privacy and security a little bit more after the break. So stay with us, and we'll be right back with you.
Stop. Everyone listen to me. You're spending hundreds of dollars and wasting time taking your computer to the Geek Squad. If you want your computer to run better,
Here is the secret.
do it yourself. I know that sounds like a lot of work.
But I promise you it's not.
With proper guidance, you can get your computer running like brand new again.
See for yourself.
Sign up for computer repair for beginners and experts alike today. It's only $9.
That's it.
Even if you don't think your computer needs a tune-up, this course is designed to help prevent future problems from happening. If someone told you that you could prevent your car from breaking down, would you take advantage of it? Of course you would. So why neglect your computer, especially for only $9? And every review has been a perfect 5-star rating that speaks for itself. With a no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee, what do you have to lose? Head over to www.geekcreations.com and click online courses to get started today.
Save yourself a headache.
Fix it in one day so you can get back to using your computer again.
Go now.
www.geekcreations.com. That's
GEEKREATIONS.com.
and click online courses. Time is wasting. Go now.
Warning, this show can be freaky.
Justin the Geek. Whoa, your favorite DJ.
You've been warned.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Live Speak with Justin the Geek. Again, I'm here with Alan Quant from thedigitalcraft.com. We were just talking about a little bit of security with your Android devices, but I want to move on to a little bit more of a serious topic, and one that's got a lot of controversy behind it, and it's part of our tech news updates. This is actually called CISPA, and it's CISPA, and that stands for the Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act. And that sounds very official and very clouded. Basically what it is, it's a proposed law in the United States which would allow for the sharing of internet traffic and the information between the U.S. government and technology and manufacturing companies. Now, the aim of the bill is to help the U.S. government investigate cyber threats and ensure security of networks against cyber attack. My question is, does it do that? This was passed last year as well in the House, and it just keeps going. It was passed last year, it was vetoed. This year it was passed in the House again with a threat of veto by Barack Obama, and yet it passed with I think it was 281 to 172 vote. So a good majority of the House of Representatives passed this bill. And now there was an attempt last year after the CISPA failed last year with SOPA, which was the Stop Online Piracy Act, and that's probably what people are confusing this with now. They're totally two different things. The Online Piracy Act is exactly that. It's about online piracy and stealing movies, music, whatever. That, online piracy. They're trying to stop that. But the CISPA is a different way of wording that and a different mission altogether. It's just to prevent cybersecurity and cyber attacks from mainly China, which we have a lot in recently. But there's a lot of controversy behind it because it lacks confidentiality and civil liberty safeguards. That's why Barack Obama is threatening to veto it. I mean, do you know much about the CISPA at this point, or SOPA?
You talking to me?
Yeah, you.
Pretty much just the overall aspect of it, much of what you just said.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just about information. And the thing that gets me is that it's a good idea. Okay, I understand they're trying to get information and stop these cyber attacks and things like that. But the problem that I have with it personally, with the CISPA, is that it's written so poorly that there are so many open ends to this. And it's too few limits on how and when the government can monitor a private individual's internet browsing information. And I mean, I fear that these new powers could be used to spy on the general public rather than to pursue, malicious hackers, which that's a big fear, using this information to monitor our traffic and what we're doing. I understand that they're going to want to get that from Facebook and everything, and that's okay. That's fine, but what else are you using it for? I think it's...
Yeah, I mean,
it's really...
I don't like the whole idea of monitoring your browser traffic. That's pretty personal, and I don't see why we don't just stick with the whole get a warrant and take my computer. Mm-hmm. As far as like Facebook, social media, things like that, you're already making that stuff pretty well public, regardless of your privacy settings. I mean,
right.
Many of us have hundreds of friends that aren't really even our friends. They're just people that we don't even know. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're already giving out information to the public. If I want to talk about terrorist things and things like that on my Facebook, that's up to me to be intelligent about how I handle that. If I'm dumb enough to put illegal activity or potentially illegal activity all over the internet, well, I think I deserve to be caught.
Right.
However, what I do and what I read about on my computer, that's different.
Right. And that's where this starts to threaten civil liberties, is because, I can think and read about anything I want. It's basically the Fourth Amendment. It's my right to secure my effects and my belongings and my information without, having it seized without a warrant. So this bill basically goes around that and says that they can get information from you without a warrant because it's under Cybersecurity Act. So that totally negates the, what's it called? The Private Act. I cannot remember it. But basically it's a poorly drafted bill that it provides this huge exception to privacy law. And I mean, we all agree that the nation probably needs to address these internet security issues. But this bill sacrifices online privacy while failing to take common sense steps to improve security. And that's the biggest thing about this. That's why so many activists are stepping up to stop this. It's because of the terrible, terrible writing of this bill. It just gives people a way of getting information and then hiding behind something. And it's always, in last year and this year, it's the same. It was passed under secrecy. Nobody knew it even passed. So that to me is just really shady. Well, yeah, exactly. I told you, but it's just, if you have to do that, it can't be a good thing. If you're trying to get it passed under secrecy and then just slide it by people, what are you trying to hide?
Now, again, some part of me thinks, if if you have something to hide, then you should be concerned. Otherwise, I mean, there's billions of us out there. The government is not just going to start randomly looking at our computers. And even if they did, if I'm doing something bad, well, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with what I was about to say, but I mean, I don't know. You kind of have to be a target for this. I don't know, my dad gets very up in arms about these kind of things and worried about information and things like that. He likes his privacy, and and they're business owners and things like that, and they're not as comfortable with the whole online thing. I mean, it took me forever to just get them to use things like Google Docs to handle business stuff, because they just feel like that shouldn't be out in the internet. To them, internet is already available to everybody.
Right.
Whereas it's not totally true.
Right.
But he often, argues this stuff with me, and I generally, rebut with, why would anybody be looking for your information?
Right.
Do you have a reason to be watched? I mean, it's now, I don't like the idea that the power is there, I guess, because it could be.
That's where that's where people are fighting it so bad. It's not the fact that I'm thinking they're going to investigate me, but it's also that if they happen to get my information, because Facebook could just give it away, which I clearly, when I signed up for Facebook, signed a privacy agreement that it wouldn't be sold. So that would be negated completely. And they would give my information away to a government agency. And then where it goes from there is it's out of my control. And they all get to say, well, it was based on, this CISPA Act. So that's where people are getting upset, is that it's not that they're just going to, target me. It's that the fact that it could happen, and because it's written so poorly, we have no idea the extent of what will happen after that. I mean, I've, even with the SOPA, the Piracy Act, I disagree with it to a point, but if they can write it better and close some of the gaping holes in there and say, this is what we do, we have to get a warrant for this, or if we go to this company, we have to do it this way. There's none of that. It's so open-ended, and that's why it keeps going back every year, because it keeps getting rewritten and rewritten and rewritten. And I think they'll get it right. Because
that's what I would hope for. Is, I mean, if it is written very poorly, then yeah, it needs to go back to the drawing board.
Right.
Our privacy is very important to me, but at the same time, my safety is important to me too.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah,
if
exactly.
the government is actually looking out for our best interests, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's poorly written and open to whatever, I mean, it's not.
And it's just, I mean, it's one thing if our government had a good track record of representing the people, but they don't. It's not like I'm going to be 100% faithful to my government and trustworthy that they're going to not do harm by me. I mean, it may not be my specific information. It may be, information regarding somebody I know, and it gets, transferred around, and you just don't know when you're in very personal information that you want to keep private, on your computer. If that is just taken without cause, without probable cause, I don't like that. That's just scary.
I think a lot of our concern probably lies in the fact that government, a lot of more than not, acts more like a business anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what we're scared of. I mean, I am totally for businesses practicing, as businesses should, and being able to take information if they're allowed to have it, if you agree to it, blah, 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 blah. But governments acting that way, taking information from us and using it to their own benefit, especially for political benefit, that bothers me.
Yeah.
That's a business tactic, and should be left to businesses which can be, the law can come down on, whereas politicians don't necessarily get, the higher you get up, the more immune to the law you seem to get these days.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then, like I said, with all the ways that they write these things, the average consumer, the average person doesn't have a clue what any of it means. It's just one of those, when like I said, they pass it under secrecy, so you don't even know. It's like, hey, go ahead and pass this, sign it off. And when you have no idea what's going on with it, you don't know what the bill even means. And it's like you said, it's business. They write it in a language that nobody can understand. except for the people that are writing it.
If they even understand.
If they even understand it, exactly. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to be on the end of having to vote for it or sign it off, but it's just, I've never understood politics anyway. We were talking the other day about how it makes no sense to have a Congress when the president could just be like, oh, veto, no. You know, it's so funny just to have, you know, majority rules and then they hand it to one guy and he's like, nah, trash.
Yeah, ultimately it's just shows that government is too big, and at the same time people don't care enough.
Right.
So it's a very bad dynamic there.
It is.
And we care enough to raise a stink about it, but not enough to, or I don't even know if we have the ability really at this point to change how the government works anymore, and that's kind of scary.
That's what scares a lot of people, is that once things like these are passed, it's like out of our hands because we have no control of it. I can't go to the White House and change a bill. I don't even know how a bill works. I learned that in 4th grade when I was still, you know, my balls hadn't even dropped yet. You know, I didn't even know what I was doing in life, and they're teaching me about politics. So it's something that I would have to go to school for and learn and figure out how I could even approach something like that.
Well, and most of what I remember from from school and learning about the history of the country and all that doesn't seem to apply anymore.
Right.
And that was pretty devastating to me when I became an adult and realized that the world doesn't work the way we were told it was. It's supposed to work anyways.
Right.
Or all the beautiful things about the country that, you know, we kind of praised in history classes and things like that don't really exist.
Yeah.
And that's kind of scary.
Yeah, I know that feeling too. That happened to me as well. I mean, you see that all these steps have to be taken and the bill gets drafted and then it's goes to Congress and they all vote on it. And then, you know, somewhere in between there, it just gets all, lobbied up and money thrown everywhere and it just gets totally ruined. It's a weird politics. I've never understood it. The laws, bills, things like that. But this CISPA, it's scaring a lot of people, I think, more than if they want to get something out like this. I think they should bring it to the forefront, discuss it, explain what in the hell it is, and let people decide. Otherwise, you keep passing things under secrecy, no one's going to trust you. Yeah. It's really that simple. But I think let's go to a quick music break here. I think after the music break, I might open the phone lines up for a minute and see if anybody wants to call in and talk about this, if they have any opinions. So we will be right back here on Live Speak with Justin the Geek.
They say embrace your past, but man, I wanna take it back, cause I hate the fact that I'm the one to blame for the pain and the shame that I feel when I trace it back. So why, if I'm in my right mind, would I really wanna make it last? And how will I make it past if I spend all my time with my face to the back? So I gotta move along, keep my eyes to the light, cause I'm moving on. And yeah, the road is long and a lot of folks hate, gotta prove them wrong. So I got a new song, and if you're feeling what I'm saying, you can groove along. Yeah, no more bad. Matter of fact, when I look back, I'll just laugh. Hold me up when the floods fall. We're strong enough to stand above it all. Hold me up when the floods fall. We're strong enough to rise above it all. We'll survive, get beyond. Take me on, take me on, take me on. The more it hurts, the more we're afraid to climb up on the top of this mountain we've made. The rocks that we face will surely crumble and break, as long as the pain isn't harbored away. Hold me up when the floods fall. You're strong enough to stand above it all. Hold me up when the floods fall. You're strong enough to rise above it all. We'll survive, get beyond. Take me on, take me on. Just like the old days, back to my old ways. Talking with myself, need to get out my own way. Past great, as of late, I've been thrown away. Used to be good friends, but now I tell them go away. I'm saying no way, get my mind right. It's getting bright, no need for the nightlight. I'll be in trouble like the shy lights if I didn't keep my brighter days in my eyesight. I'll be alright, gotta keep my belt tight. Superhero with the power of flight, flying through the air, family, friends in pairs. Shout out to my girl, cause you know I care. I swear some words can't be said enough. Like trying to reach a dream that you just can't touch. Like being in a lot of pain without a crutch. Like falling on your face when you're trying to stay up. We'll survive, get beyond. Take me on, take me on, take me on.
This is the one you've been waiting for. Justin the Geek. Check this out. Fire. Assume the position. Mixing it up.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Live Speak with Justin the Geek. Again, I'm here with Alan Quant from thedigitalcraft.com. We were talking about CISPA and a little bit about SOPA, and I don't really know the other PUs, but there's some other bills and privacy acts that have been tried to get passed, but the same thing happens. They get passed under secrecy, and then they have to be rewritten because the president vetoes them because they impose on civil liberties. And I was going to see if I could get maybe a caller or two on the phone, get your opinions on this. We've never actually taken a live call on the show, and usually you have a call screener to do that kind of stuff, but I do not have one today, so I just want to try it out anyway. So if you do want to call in, the phone number is area code 510-455-4335. Again, that's 510-455-GEEK, G-E-E-K, and I'll put it in the chat window down here as well. If we don't answer right away, please call back or leave a message. So I did want to talk again about with CISPA and I guess the war on CISPA, as I'm calling it, because there's a lot of activists out there that are really, really, really determined to get this thing stopped. And I understand that, but it seems like with the legislation's vote of 288 to 127, it's going to pass again next year. The thing is not, I don't think, to stop it. I think what we need to do is actually figure out how to rewrite it so it would be appeasable for everybody.
Yeah, and again, I'm still wondering what's wrong with the warrant process that we have already.
Right, that's what I can't understand. That, I mean, I don't know if it's protecting people too much, or because I definitely understand cyber attacks and cybersecurity. It's a huge deal, especially with people in China who, I have to say it, a lot of them are smarter than us, and it's one of those things that could cripple us. So it's a huge thing, but yeah, we do have the warrant system in place, and it's basically ask and then demand. It's, I'm going to get a warrant. Guess what? I'm going to take your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference between my computer and a journal that I keep on my desk? I mean,
yeah,
I don't think they should be able to just come in here and grab my journal whenever they feel like it.
Right. Well,
but if they have a warrant, go for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what? That's interesting you bring that up. When I worked at the courthouse in Havre, Montana, Hill County Courthouse, there was an attorney. She was brand new there, one of the prosecuting attorneys. And I worked and did the networks and computers there after hours or whatnot. I went in her office and I was wiring some things. I don't even know exactly what I was doing, but she had left some documents out on her desk. Well, I had to sign a HIPAA agreement, privacy agreements, all that stuff. But she was very upset because she had this stuff on her desk, and I could have possibly seen it. Now, basically what we had to tell her was, one, in a nice way, really don't care what's on your desk. Honestly, don't care what you have. I'm just here to fix your computer. And two, if you don't want anyone to see it, you lock it up.
Yeah.
So there's
always found that interesting when I get computers to fix and people didn't really cover their tracks, and I see things I don't want to see. Right.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that too.
They get mad about it,
Yeah, and it's like, you're invading my privacy. Well, in that case, it's not, because, it's, you kind of gave it to me.
Right.
It's part of my job to go in there. I was supposed to fix her computer. She knew that we went into her office after hours many times. So in that sense, it was her responsibility to lock that up. Now, what we're saying here is that according, like with this law, if I went into her office and she had it locked up and I went in and broke open her safe and took it, then I could say, well, it was Cybersecurity Act. That's what people are worried about.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening all the time. I don't see them pulling up, Alan Quant, Digital Craft, let's get everything about him. Like you said, I think it's partly warranted that you have to be an extremist or, you have to put yourself on that map to a point. But the fact that it's just available, if they just feel like, hey, we're just going to grab somebody from Facebook and it could just be somebody's worst day of their life.
Yeah, and I guess that's where you said something earlier about are we giving them too much protection by keeping the warrant process rather than just being able to just take stuff.
Right.
And I think that warrant process does give enough time for the authorities to get probable cause, get the information they need to actually make sure they're not going in and invading people who may have just wanted to read the Anarchist Cookbook out of boredom.
Right.
It
Right.
doesn't make them a terrorist.
No, and I've thought of that too before. It's like, I'm curious. I'd love to see what the hype was all about, but I don't dare frickin' type it in.
Right.
I would like to satisfy my curiosity, but I'm not going to try it.
I'm pretty sure I actually have that Anarchist Cookbook on one of my old computers floating around here somewhere.
Ooh.
I read it when I was like 15, I think.
Well then, now that we're live and on the air, Alan Quant, digitalcraft.com.
That's what I say. That's what I mean, though. I have nothing to hide. Mm-hmm. So come take my stuff.
Right.
But give it back, please.
Yeah, exactly. Can I have it back? That's one thing. But I mean, like if I'm searching the internet and I want to look up something about a religion or a different culture, and I have research that I find is not exactly appealing to most people, if that gets shared in any way, that could seriously damage me. I'm not saying I'm a celebrity by any means, but it could ruin anything. So again, the CISPA thing, it's iffy, if anything. Secrecy, passing things under people's eyes, I don't like it. There's this great movie that's being funded. I want to bring this up to everybody because I think everyone should donate to this just to get this movie made and to get the knowledge from it, because there's a ton of knowledge waiting to be told from this movie. It's called War of the Web, and here's a quote about it. It says, "Do we have the right to free speech, the right to privacy, and the right to security? The same rights that have protected our democracy for generations are now in jeopardy in the most unlikely of places, online. The internet may appear to be an open forum, but behind closed doors, a war is being waged between corporations and governments for control of the virtual universe, affecting the way we access the internet, the content we can post, the sites we can see, and the security of the data we send. Now, the harsh truth is that the few of us possess any real knowledge about how the internet works. Though the United States invented this marvel, our complacency has put this country behind. As technology advances, our infrastructure has declined. As the world becomes more connected, our rights have become more restricted." This whole thing, it says it's time to take a stand in this fight for our online rights. Who will win the war of the web? This movie is going to teach everyone about CISPA, about SOPA, about how the internet even works, from the huge underground, the cables in the ocean, all the way to the router in your living room. And I think that's a huge deal because most people don't have a clue how the internet works. It just is and is there.
And I guess that's a bummer for a lot of people that might oppose or be for it. A lot of people don't actually understand how any of this works, mm-hmm. and what may be at stake or what isn't at stake.
Yeah.
Hence, like, my parents and stuff.
Right.
Not getting, what's private and what's not.
Yeah, and I think just getting that education and knowing what we're even talking about or what's at stake, what could you be losing or how you'll be losing it, instead of just saying, I don't think it'll affect me. Not thinking it will affect you and knowing if it will affect you or not is two different things.
Now, you brought up how technology kind of surpasses things, and like, what if is this going to block us? What if I decide or devise a way to block the government from looking at my stuff? Is that, and now am I doing something illegal because
you're protecting yourself under the Fourth Amendment?
Right.
That's a good question. I have no idea, but you're right. I mean, how does that evolve? Because once a bill is passed and it becomes law, there's like, especially at the state that this one's in right now, there's so many things that can happen. It's just so unclear like that. There's probably no answer for that question, and there should be.
Yeah, and I mean, if things like this can pass as flimsy as they are, then we need to be concerned about a lot more than just this.
That's very true.
If it's illegal for me to shut my blinds because I don't want people to see me eating tacos and pancakes at the same time, then you know what I mean?
Sorry, just the thought of you eating tacos and pancakes at the same time.
In my pajamas and dress shoes.
Yeah, exactly. Always wearing the dress shoes.
But I mean, where does that stop? I mean,
right.
I don't like that. Ultimately, though, get a warrant.
Mm-hmm. That's what it boils down to. I mean, majority of it is taking versus, I guess, requesting nicely with a warrant. It's basically saying, we're looking into you. We're going to come get your stuff. I just got the authorization. Here we go. With
SOPA, I agree with a little more as far as what I know about it.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about SOPA, unfortunately. I know it's an online piracy act, and it's, to prevent people from pirating music and movies and things like that, which is fine because that's illegal. But I think part of it is about sharing information.
It is, but it seems like what a lot of it is, it's geared more towards people that are making a business out of it, less about you and me who decided we wanted to get the next Will Smith album.
That's right. Okay, that's why Kim.com is under so much. The guy from Mega Upload, his name is, I don't know if it's his real name, but he goes by Kim.com. And he is being...
You don't know if Kim.com is his real name?
Well, that's just what every article I've read says, that, quotes Kim.com. It doesn't say... His last name is DOTCOM. I don't know what it is, but I have not yet to find out his real name. But yeah, he's under a lot of heat for Mega Upload because of the SOPA.
Yeah, I mean, if your business is primarily based on, like Pirate Bay, things like that, where there are ads plastered all over it, if you're making money off of something where your main intent, or at least the majority of your traffic and content is illegal, as much as that is a hindrance to people who like to get on, stuff for free.
Right.
And in this, we were talking the other day about that, it's to the point where a lot of us, I think, don't even think about the fact that it's illegal anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's why we might be up in arms about it. But ultimately, it is illegal. It's other people's work.
Right.
As a developer and a musician, I can feel for the other side of that, People put their heart and soul into an album. People put their heart and soul into software, and if people are stealing it, then it's illegal. And if people are profiting off of making it more available to people, then that's illegal. So
right, and there, with the SOPA thing, there's other aspects or things of it that aren't talked about. Like there is actually in the SOPA, it's they say they want to protect against counterfeit drugs, and like Pfizer. The company Pfizer, the spokesman John Clark testified that patients could not always detect cleverly forged websites selling drugs that were either misbranded or simply counterfeit. So that that is another way of protecting you from things that are not approved by the FDA. So it's not just all about taking away your free movies. There are other things in there they're trying to do, but again, the problem is it's written poorly, very, very poorly. It covers so many things without good reason.
Yeah, there's a reason why we have open and closed source. You have the right to keep your things private or keep your things open, and it seems like a lot of people that are against SOPA are under the impression that everything should be open.
Right.
And that's not true.
No, it
that's
can't
your
be.
choice.
Yeah, and I still love what you said about how we think that it's, we're not doing anything wrong. It's almost like we think that it's our right now to get things for free. Mm-hmm. Instead of, these people put tons and tons of time into making these movies, and, I don't have so much sympathy for movies, honestly. Still, it's stealing, but with movies, good Lord, do they make money. Can you live off of 4 billion versus 10 million or 10 billion? I think so. But, now you start getting into the, independent films and the people that are funding it with their own money, and they're not making a ton of money, and you're still in that. That's a different story to me. But if you're talking about, if Colin Farrell's not going to get, 3.8 billion for his next movie, he's going to get 3.2. I don't care.
I do.
Take a pay cut.
I do.
It's just crazy to me.
I mean, movies, yeah, films, major films that do have the ability to be in theaters and things like that and make tons of money. Which, you have to think about what you just said and realize that's part of the reason why your movie tickets are like $30 now instead of $5 when we were younger.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, that's concessions too.
They're trying to recoup. And
I've worked at movie theaters, and concessions are like 90% of their business, and that drives it. But ticket sales, you're right, are ridiculous because you have to make up for it, right?
Yeah. And music, music gets hurt a little more than film, because film does have the venue of a theater, whereas musicians rely on those album sales when they go out touring and stuff, which I guess would be kind of the equivalent of a movie being shown in a theater. Most of those musicians are not making any money. A lot of them come back broke.
Right.
Those tours cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to put on, depending on the artist.
And it goes to somebody else.
Goes involved in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of it goes to somebody else, or they've just spent all that money on the crew and securing the venue, Ticketmaster, things like that. Mm-hmm. So they really rely on those album sales to keep them going.
I know it sounds weird, but and this is seriously why MC Hammer went broke. It sounds like a crazy thing, but he had to pay all his dancers. He had to pay for all the venues. He just went overboard and was very generous and paid for everything. And
he kind of made the mistake of being too generous with it. And whereas, if I was one of the dancers, I wouldn't say he made a mistake, but
right.
But yeah, but you see what I mean?
It's a hard thing with music, especially because I hear people all the time saying, well, they can make tons of money with their touring. Well, they don't. I mean, that's the part of it. I mean, if you're Lady Gaga, you're making money. Sure. You got endorsements, you got everything. But if you're a starting band, and that's what's getting hurt the most, I think, is the people that are starting out and trying to make their living and trying to get there, and their stuff's being ripped off.
Yeah, because the only other way that I've heard, you can scale down your tour. You can do a small club tour and not have all the lights and gimmicks and things like that.
Right.
But at the same time, remember the term small, you're lowering your audience. So you're still, the amount of money that you were going to put into your production, you're now losing, or you're now, you have less of an audience, less ticket sales and all that. So you're still not recouping anything. And, even the albums themselves, the people that should really be come after is the recording industry itself.
Yeah.
Because even the albums, the artists don't make very much money off of, but it is the way they make their money. Anymore, you actually have, I can't say a better chance, but you have a really good chance of becoming successful as an independent artist if you have the know-how and time to put that in. If the internet was as big as it is now, back when I was a kid and first started getting into music, back when we had to actually physically walk around and hand out flyers to our shows and things like that,
and merchandise,
hand out demos and do all of that for ourselves. Now you can do all this online. If I wanted to, I could put a tour together for my band probably in a matter of a couple of weeks, and we could be gone for a whole month, just looking on Facebook, finding similar artists that we can play with, say, hey, do you know where we could play on like Tuesday? Could we do a show with you on Tuesday the 3rd, and then boom, there's a date. and go from there. And you can do you can be pretty successful at that with a good knowledge of the internet and business in general, as much as musicians don't want to be businessmen.
Right.
But ultimately it's still the recording industry still owns all that. And, so either way, it's, to me, I don't like pirating. I can't confirm nor deny that I have never pirated anything.
Right. But
but at the same time, it doesn't help the industries out there. And we need our entertainment. And if the entertainment industry is kaput, that'll have a lot of harm.
Yeah. I agree. And like I said, with a SOPA, it's just that if it gets written right and it's brought, that's not even a word. If it gets brought to our attention, right? If they bring it out, and tell people this is what it is, here's what we're going to do with it. What do you think? Okay, here's some input. Here's what we don't like. Here's what we hate. Here's what we love. That's what a democracy is. It's not, let's write this thing, scribble it down real quick, slide it under everybody's eyes, and then just pass the bill without anybody knowing. That's crap. And nobody's going to ever trust you. So that's my biggest thing.
Done that way.
It just needs to be changed. That process just needs to be changed. Quit trying to hide it and let everybody have their vote.
I think everybody in America should get a letter in the mail with a signature line for every single thing the government does.
Holy crap.
Then it's our choice whether we agree to it or not, or if we want to ignore it.
Yeah, then it's actually for and of the people. That's for sure. It's a lot of mail.
We can come at them for spamming our mailbox.
That's right. And then, wow. Then it gets into whole different federal issues of people stealing your mail so you can't vote. And
I didn't think about that. I retract that statement.
Uh-huh. Well, let's go to a commercial break real quick here, and then we'll come back and maybe wrap it up or talk a little more. I don't know yet. But we'll be right back with Live Speak with Justin the Geek.
Getting an amazing education is a must, but going to classes and listening to boring teachers can be very painful and expensive. Luckily, we have the internet, but it is so hard to find courses that are high quality, cheap, and easily accessible. Not anymore, thanks to Udemy. Udemy is the online academy for you. At Udemy, you can find hundreds of great courses from world-class instructors. You can learn stuff like how to create awesome demo videos cheaply, how to program in Python, Ruby, or HTML, how to start your own company, even how to wiggle your feet to the rhythm of salsa. But what if you want to teach others what you know? No problem. Udemy makes it super easy to create your own course in a few steps. Just create an account for free, give your course a name, upload all your content in any format, video, audio, PowerPoint, Word, PDF, publish it, and voila! It's now accessible to anyone, at any time, all over the world. You can even set a price for your course so you can make some money. Learn anything, teach anything at Udemy, the Academy of You.
Attention singers and musicians. Are you on YouTube promoting your music but not getting the results you deserve? Need more views? Need to stand out from the crowd? No matter where you're at, our course, 25 Steps to Rock Your YouTube Views, will show you how to maximize the views on your cover video in 1 week without paying a cent. This book will guide you step by step how to increase your presence on YouTube, plus 25 video tutorials with our ebook and unlimited support to answer all your questions. If you're willing to invest your time in your career, commit to learning by video, this course is for you, and it's all for $27, plus a 30-day money-back guarantee and lifetime access with no limits. Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and get 30% off. Sign up today on Udemy.com and get the course 25 Steps to Rock Your YouTube Views, the great way to maximize the views on your cover video for 1 week without paying a cent. Sign up now.
Okay, stand by. It's Justin, the Geek. Are you ready to rock? Ladies, make some noise.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Live Speak with Justin the Geek. I think we pretty much have beat a dead horse with the CISPA thing. I think we've talked about it enough. I just think it needs to change.
What a dead horse sounds like, and I was going to make the noise, but I failed.
Oh, that's too bad.
I think it was going to come out more like Chewbacca.
Yeah, That probably would have happened. I can picture that, actually. Coming from you. Now, I wanted to, actually, I have a couple shout-outs that I wanted to mention to some of our listeners. A shout-out to Joe. He's our 14-year-old listener from the UK. Thanks for listening, Joe. I talked to him earlier today. Nice kid. Also, my friend Cassie Gross just turned 27 today, but she's at the beach for the weekend, so probably not listening to the show, but God bless her for going to the Northwest beaches in April. It's just rain and crap there right now. It's never nice.
Got beaches here coming close to our house.
Yeah, you got flooding going on down there, though.
Yeah, over here.
Good Lord. I don't think I could deal with flooding. We get a lot of rain here, but I've never really been in a flooding situation.
Yeah, luckily I've always lived on high ground, but we've had some pretty horrendous floods here, and if it wasn't for how gross our rivers were, I wouldn't really care.
Your green rivers?
Care, but our green rivers, yeah.
Every day of the year, not just St. Patty's Day. They're just green.
Yep, they're just green. Let you figure out why.
That's so disgusting. Well, I think that's about it. I do want to mention that if you are in the Vancouver or Portland area and you want to rent an apartment, I definitely recommend you check out the Park at Mill Plain. Make sure you talk to the leasing consultant, Grant Gilson. He's my brother. And I know he'll make sure you get what you need. The Park at Mill Plain, you can go to their website. It's myparkapartments.com. They're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I'll put their website on the show notes afterwards as well. They have pretty good deals and some units open, so come rent from him. Get a new apartment. They're actually really nice here. They're very, 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 very nice apartments. Good area, too, in Vancouver. So, Alan, if you want to move up here, get you an apartment. Or just a basement. I know you like living in the basement.
You guys have basements there?
You know, not as many as I thought. It's really hard to find a house with a basement here.
Yeah, it was like that in Florida. Although there's good reason for that, but you had to have pretty good amount of money to build a basement that could withstand being under the sea level like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's all swamps.
Yeah, I don't understand the reason here why there aren't as many basements. I don't understand the connection.
Does earthquakes have anything to do with it? You guys get earthquakes?
We don't get them up here. We don't get anything here. Really, in the Northwest, it's pretty decent. I mean, we get a lot of rain, but we don't get huge floods, really, because we are used to rain. Yeah.
Because you're used to rain, it doesn't flood?
Well, I mean, because things are designed properly and the roads are designed for rain. Not saying we don't have, mudslides and things like that. Those do happen a lot here, but...
That sounds fun.
Yeah. I'm sure Joe said it's the same over there in the UK. I'm sure it is. I have a lot of fans over in the UK, and it rains there a lot, I hear. In London, and no thanks. I live in it here. I don't want to go on vacation to somewhere that rains. I'll just stay home. So, yeah. Anything else from you, Alan? You have any brand new things going on with the digital craft, or?
No, not really.
Nothing yet?
Put out some Photoshop tutorials.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, on YouTube.
Working on finishing that dynamic series one day.
Yeah, I hear that a lot of people are bugging you for that. Jeez.
Yeah,
When's it going to be done? When's it going to be done? It's a process.
When I stop doing radio shows.
Yeah, I know, right? When I stop randomly calling you to do a radio show. Well, good.
Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic life. Like I told you, you have an amazing life living in a basement, dress shoes, shorts.
Pajamas.
And pajamas, yeah. I always forget the pajamas. Probably because I don't care to remember that. But I guess that's it for us at LiveSpeak. I mean, unless you have anything else, Alan, that you want to say to anybody out there, any special people in your life?
The wife and kids.
Oh, I did not expect you to name them as special.
What?
I'm just kidding.
That's not very nice.
They are special.
I haven't seen them in weeks. They're above me somewhere.
You got to go upstairs and get some light.
I think so.
You need to get
my
some
windows in my basement aren't big enough.
Some vitamin D in your skin from the sun.
Sun?
Is it D? I don't remember. I don't know. Vitamin something.
What's the sun you speak of? If the weather would figure out what it wants to do, I'd go out there. It's been going up from like the 80s to the 30s, which I can't translate into Celsius at the moment. But
yeah, I never could do that.
Basically, warm then very cold.
Oh,
there you go.
That's nice.
That's my translation.
It's perfect. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to say that's it for us then here at LiveSpeak. Everybody, thank you for listening. Joe and whoever else is in the chat, besides Alan and myself, thanks for listening. And next week, Danielle Leslie from the Udemy.com staff will be here on the show, and I get to harass her and ask her all kinds of questions. So tune in for that next week, and we'll see you then.